raising Nashville, raising Nashville, raising Nashville.
Howdy, y'all.
Welcome to this week's episode of Raising Nashville. I'm Bucky.
Juicebox.
Oh, boy.
And it is June in Middle Tennessee.
Damn, it is June.
It is June. It is hot as shit outside. And most of you out there, if you live in Nashville, know about Nashville, or have been part of this city for the last, 20, 30, up to 50 years.
I'm not 50.
No, not 50. Okay, fair enough. But you know that June brings more than just the heat to Nashville and Middle Tennessee. And when I say that, I'm talking two of the biggest things that happen in our city or the proximity of our city every single year. That is
Sweat hogs.
no.
You're not far off.
Oh, if you haven't picked up on it by now, we are talking CMA Fest and Bonnaroo Music Festival.
Fight to the death.
Fight to the death. These are two of the biggest things that, to be honest with you, have affected my life. And I am happy to be able to talk about them today. I'm excited to get into how both of these festivals were created.
Okay.
Some stats on the festivals. And
1.9.
What is that? What
Percentage.
Okay.
I don't know. Stats. It's just what numbers.
1.9. How many deaths happen at Bonnaroo every year?
5.6.
No, I was going with 1.9.
Oh, okay.
You weren't far off there for a little while.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
Oh, so these are two major events in music, and they both happen really close to where we live, and they've been going on for quite a while, one much longer than the other, but you kind of want to raise them together, in this podcast. So for those of you who have just attended CMA Fest here in Nashville, or making your trek to Middle Tennessee to attend Bonnaroo Music Festival that starts this Thursday, you might want to know a little bit about a music festival, especially if it's your first time. So this week's episode, I wanted to come up with a title for, and since we're covering two music festivals and kind of comparing and contrasting, hopefully they don't get in a fight one day, I think, unless they already have, and I'll get into that. But I'd like to call this Home Sweet Home, A Tale of Two Festivals.
Okay.
We need like some sort of little music bed under there. So
yeah,
It was the
piano from the beginning of the Motley Crue song.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
So, with the Tale of Two Festivals, you kind of have to know how they started. And what I wanted to do for those of you who have just attended CMA Fest or are about to attend Bonnaroo or driving and flying to Nashville and just want some shit to listen to because we probably tagged everything under the sun that has to do with these subjects. We're going to start with the older brother of the music festivals is what I'm going to call it. And that is the Country Music Association Festival, originally entitled Fanfare. And
Fanfare,
yeah. See,
okay.
you knew that.
We grew up with Fanfare. Yeah,
you knew Fanfare. CMA Fest is not new. It's been around for a long time. It's just changed names.
Right.
And if you're a local from Nashville, then you have been hearing for Fanfare since you were born. It's like one of the things you wanted to do going downtown was to go to Fanfare. It was safe. It was like that and Summer Lights, which is another one-off festival. So in 1972, WSM, which is one of the oldest radio stations in the country that ran the Grand Ole Opry, created Fanfare. The reason is kind of interesting if you don't know this story.
Money.
Yet originally not, which is surprising.
Oh.
So they created Fanfare so fans would stop showing up to a radio industry only convention that happened every year. So since the 30s and 40s, they would have these conventions in Nashville where they would invite radio hosts to showcase these artists, so they would play them on their radio stations all the way across the country, because that's how you had to do it, which is insane.
That is
to
so
think
crazy
about. Like, you fly all these people in to go to these concerts to say, okay, that person's good, I'm gonna play them, on my radio station. So they did this every year, and in 1972 it got so bad that there were like up to 10,000 people outside of this hotel where they were holding this convention, trying to get in to see, you know, who was popular in the 70s. I'd say like Merle Haggard and like Conway Twitty, Dolly Parton.
Parliament.
Okay.
Real quick, I'm sorry. How long did it go on when it was just behind the scenes? Like
It was like a
years?
20 to 20 or 30 year convention.
oh wow,
Yeah, you'd think somebody would be like, dude, why don't we just
yeah.
let's make some
Why
money?
did it take them that long? Yeah.
Yeah.
To figure
So
out
like
how to
the
make money
first
on
one,
it.
they're driving dirt roads to get to Nashville to go to this thing.
Yeah, I'm just
No.
thinking why the festival people weren't like, dude, let's do this and charge these folks.
Yeah.
I mean, these people.
Yep.
These
They didn't
beautiful
think
people.
about that. They just wanted to keep them out because they were interrupting.
Right.
So in 1972,
Smart business people.
In 1972, 5,000 fans showed up to the first ever fanfare at Municipal Auditorium. It was held one day on a Wednesday night because this was right in the middle of this convention, and they could still get their radio host in to see the main attractions. There were 20 hours of live entertainment that day. So it like literally went all the way through the night until the last artist was stopped playing.
At Municipal.
At Municipal Auditorium, it stayed there for actually 10 years. It grew. But in 1975, 3 years after the creation of Fanfare or CMA Music Festival, Paul McCartney performed in
Yep.
1972. Paul McCartney performed at CMA Fest.
So this is Billy Shears though.
With wings?
1972.
So no, it was Paul McCartney solo. He was so into this 2-year-old festival that he wanted to come play. This would have been 4 years removed from
His death.
his death.
No, it's more than that. He
6
didn't
years.
play the first year.
He played the third year in 1975.
Oh,
wait a minute.
7
okay.
years since he's been decapitated. It's
Okay,
amazing.
7 years. So Billy Shears.
Billy Shears.
Probably did
So
a
I guess
really good
Billy
job.
Shears was like more of a country music fan probably, and that like he was
Yeah.
finally just like, all right, cool, I can finally do this.
Like most, yeah, like most semi-okay artists, they're like, well, I better just try country towards,
I've fucked up on other stuff. I'll just do country now.
Yeah. Oh, God. So 10 years after the creation of Fanfare from 1972, 1982, it got so big that it had to move to the Tennessee State Fairgrounds, and they created stages and played inside that racetrack that is still there today. They're trying to bring NASCAR back. They're building a new soccer stadium next to it. And it moved from like 1 day to 2 days, but still in the middle of the week, like a Wednesday and Thursday. Stays at the Tennessee State Fairgrounds until 2001. So it was there for quite a while. People were going out there.
Okay.
A notable thing that happened during Fanfare that I read is a fun fact for you guys out there. In 1996, Garth Brooks, this is the height of Garth Brooks, right? Garth Brooks shows up to this Fanfare and signs autographs for 23 hours and 10 minutes straight.
Dang.
Still holds a Fanfare record. He said that he would not stop signing autographs until every single fan had left. It took almost an entire day for that to happen.
Dang, that's impressive. You think? I bet there were record sales of those like dual color shirts he used to wear. I bet like he had like a shirt rack beside it. Like, I'll sign this autograph, and they're like selling Garth Brooks shirts, and he's just killing it.
I'll autograph it. You have to buy this
Maybe.
shirt.
Strongly suggested you
But
buy this shirt.
One of the things that I was reading about it was, first off, I saw that Garth Brooks thing too, and it said he did it for 23 hours and 10 minutes without taking a single break. Like, how is that
Impossible.
possible? Yeah, is he just
Impossible.
peeing his pants there
Whiskey.
or something? Like,
They
but-
got it.
Well, I just wanted to say real quick, like, maybe they were selling merch, but like these artists aren't paid for these appearances, right?
They weren't. No.
Like, even for performing, they're
Yeah,
not
this
paid
isn't
for
like
that.
a fanfare that you would see today with like Marvel or Comic Con
Right,
or whatever.
right,
You're not
right.
paying to take a picture. They're just taking these pictures. But you remember back in like the 80s and 70s, they had those what are they? The headshot like glossy things that
Yeah.
you could buy and get a.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
trying
bet
to-
there are tons of those.
I'm trying to get me one of those.
So
A
in-
glossy headshot of Garth Brooks.
Of me, I've tried to hand them out to like diners and stuff just to see if I can get like a free meal.
God. So
It's like, hey, you want my headshot? And I'll just act like I'm somebody.
I'm interested on the play on that. Yeah, like
I'll
for
be
a meal.
Piccadilly
Here's the
Cafe.
heads-
I'll be like, well, hey, you want my headshot?
here's the headshot. Can I get an egg sandwich?
Can I get that fish fillet for free?
So in 2001, Fanfare actually went from a weekday event to a 4-day weekend event. So it started on a Thursday and went to a Sunday in 2001. Outgrew the Tennessee State Fairgrounds, moved downtown, used certain venues down there that were currently being built, like Bridgestone Arena. First Avenue, they'd put stages down on Riverfront. They moved it to a 4-day event. And this is kind of where I want to stop, because if you are in this podcast to hear about Bonnaroo and I'm just rambling on about CMA Fest,
You want me to talk about Bonnaroo? You're just looking at me.
So before we jump off of it, I just another thing I brought up that I found, or that I saw that I found interesting. They said that they changed the name from Fanfare to CMA Fest because the name Fanfare had like some kind of negative association with it or something.
One, we're not jumping off of it. We're coming back. I'm just taking
okay.
a break.
Okay.
The reason I'm taking a break is because 2001 is when CMA moved to a 4-day festival, and what came the very year after that?
I'm guessing Bonnaroo, right?
One of the things that has completely shaped my life.
Opryland?
No, that too. But another thing started in 2002, down about an hour and 15 minutes south of us in Manchester,
cheese?
Tennessee. No, yes. The first time I ever saw string cheese was at the first Bonnaroo.
Oh my God! I'm all right. I'm paying
Crazy,
attention
huh?
now. I'm paying attention now.
So Bonnaroo was created in 2002, and just to mention a few things before I get into it, Bonnaroo stands for a really good time. That is the Creole word for a really good time.
We gonna go down there have a.
Please continue. Please get through that.
Yeah.
Well, we gonna go down now, have a really good time.
We gonna go down there have a Bonnaroo.
Oh, I like that. So in 2002, Bonnaroo was created by AC and Superfly Productions. Ashley Capps was a longtime producer of music events and things like that, but on a very, very small level. And he was friends with a guy named Jonathan Mayers, which was Superfly Productions. So you have AC Entertainment, Superfly Productions, basically just two dudes. They used to save up all their money and go over to Europe to go to festivals, and they were obsessed with, music festivals that they were doing in Europe that they did not have in the United States at the time. The only thing that we had to look back on and that Bonnaroo kind of initially compared to was Woodstock. So Bonnaroo was created by these two guys, and they were inspired by European music festivals and New Orleans music culture, because one of the guys was from New Orleans, one was from Knoxville. And Superfly Productions actually put on Jazz Fest prior to Bonnaroo.
Oh,
so
wow.
they've been doing Jazz Fest for a long time. And it's four guys that were huge Fish fans, not the swim, but the band.
We got it.
And they had been living, they're from New Orleans. They've been putting on these productions for a long time. But they were just four guys that were in their 20s, and they
didn't. I don't understand that, because they definitely didn't start Jazz Fest. Jazz Fest is like 50 years old or something like that.
They handled the production side of it. So it's Superfly Productions was the company.
Oh, I
so
see. Okay,
I guess they'd been doing it for a couple of years.
Is Curtis Mayfield involved with Superfly Productions?
He is
Nothing.
not.
No. Okay. I just had to ask.
So Ashley Capps and Jonathan Mayers, aka AC and Superfly Productions, they were actually, the time that they released, they were ready to do this thing, right? So they go to Coffee County. That's Manchester, right outside of Nashville. So they go to Coffee County and they say, hey, we found this property down here. They meet with the mayor of Coffee County. And he said, you guys are idiots. You're never going to be able to pull this off. We're in the middle of nowhere. Traffic, is a nightmare. There's one way in, one way out. That's it. He was even so much more that they did not know this. They put on a music festival there 3 years prior in 1999 that was a massive failure. And do you want to know the name of what that music festival was?
Yes, I do.
Itchykoo.
What?
Which is Creole for a bad time. Now don't go down there. Now you have Itchykoo.
Itchykoo. Itchykoo Festival in 99. So they put on this music festival. About 10,000 people showed up. They were expecting a shitload more. In fact, the original flyer for Itchykoo said there was 25,000 camping spots. So in 99, Itchykoo Music Festival, you want to hear the headliners of this? Rick Springfield, Sammy Hagar, Blue Oyster Cult, Styx, Grand Funk Railroad, Heart.
So it is a bad time.
It does sound like a bad time. No wonder it failed, but these guys found this farm, which they knew a music festival had happened on, and they convinced the mayor to say, yes, you can have this music festival here. You figure it out. It's crazy. They go back home and they are scared to death. They release the tickets of this. They've been pumping it forever, right? So they initially get widespread panic on board because some guy knows some guy, and they were like, we can get this name. So they build all this. This is during the time that Fish is on a hiatus, so they get Trey Anastasio, which is the lead singer of Fish, to do a one-off too, and then they convince like the remnants of some Grateful Dead to do the third. And then they have this undercard, right? It's not very big, maybe 20 bands total. So they were like, holy shit, what's going to happen? They open it online, and I remember personally being at my friend Michael's parents' house, and I remember the bedroom where we were all online trying to buy tickets to this thing. We didn't know what it was. We just knew we wanted to do it, right? So they go online, they sell 12,000 tickets in the first day, and they sold out in 2 weeks. And they sell out, and they were like, man, we were expecting to sell like 5,000 tickets in a month. Like, because they released this thing, 6 months before, it's supposed to happen.
Sure.
So they sell out, they're like, oh shit. So it really turns into a fire festival type story.
You. Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, man, they're about to Billy Man-titty this this thing. But clearly they didn't. They cared, right?
The only snafu in this story, which kind of reminded me of the fire festival story, is the fact that
they needed water.
No, they did not need water. So they approached the chief of police and said, hey, I think since we have so many people coming in such a short window, we should change the traffic patterns to do this and do that. And the chief of police was like, no, we got it. This is our town, our county. We know what we're doing. They were like, okay.
I thought you were going to say they approached the chief of police and were like, hey, there might be some drugs. Are you cool? Like, I thought that's what you were really going to say. I was like, oh, yeah. How'd that
I
work?
would assume that would be implied, but I actually have a story about that. Let me tell in a second.
Okay, cool.
So I attended the first Bonnaroo, and, I got my tickets. I was excited.
How much were tickets?
I can't remember. I want to say they were like maybe $200, $175, which was really expensive for us because I was a sophomore in college, like when Bonnaroo started.
Yeah. So you paid?
I did pay
that first year.
First year.
Okay.
I got smart after that first year.
How did they promote it?
So,
because there wasn't social media then. So how did this word of mouth about this festival even spread around?
So the big three. Fish was big, but they were on hiatus, so it was a free-for-all for these undercard jam bands. And I know you hate me saying this, but it was like Widespread Panic. People split between Widespread Panic and the String Cheese Incident.
Right.
And then it went down from there. There were like undercard jam bands. And all of those people, you went to see the concerts all the time. They were talking about, there was flyers out at every parking lot you went to.
Oh, okay.
Dave Matthews Band too, right?
But there was also the internet.
I lived through that, and I just don't remember. It's so hard to remember how.
Well, you didn't like
happened.
that kind of music.
Well,
I'm not. Yeah,
that's true.
But I'm still saying, just finding out about shows through flyers and posters and just
right.
Right.
Word of mouth.
I lived in a house of hippies, and I didn't know until you went. You know what I mean? But I guess like any good time, right? What does it stand for again? What does it stand for again?
A really good time.
Right. Like any Bonnaroo, like. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop.
So to get back to the traffic patterns, I remember I was there at that first Bonnaroo. It took us, I am not lying to you, 14 hours to get into that festival. We were on the side of the interstate. We were on back roads. They were forcing us around these certain areas. And we were stopped for 4 hours at a time. Like, and we were just sitting, I mean, it was like Woodstock. We were sitting on top of the cars. People are walking up and down, like just trying to sell you beer or just give you beer.
Damn.
So a funny story about that first year, which to be honest with you, the chief of police found Ashley Capps after that happened on the second day and said, next year we'll try it your way.
With the traffic patterns?
With the traffic patterns. So the funny one little short story is this guy named Steve Mollitz. He's one of the main people in the band Particle, which was big back then.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, they played super late night shows and things like that. They got stuck in the traffic getting in because back then the artists were going the same way. It was one way in and one way out, right? So apparently he gets out of his car, Particle, and the other guys in the band, they start walking up and down where everybody's just parked and hanging out and handing out their CDs for free, asking people to put them in their CD players and just start playing it. Yeah, and then they would trade them for beers. And then they literally were prepared to set up on the side of the interstate to play their show because it was like becoming 2 hours before their show was supposed to start and they still weren't in.
Wait, it was backed up on the interstate?
Oh yeah.
Man.
It was on the side of the interstate. It was,
dude, yeah, that's like a big
it was
time.
scary.
Yeah.
What was worse is it took me 17 hours to get out and I was by myself the first year. They fixed it since then. Now Bonnaroo has its like own exit and they've got it down to a T.
Oh my god, I would lose my mind if I was coming off a festival and had to be in a car by myself for 17 hours in traffic.
It was insane because I had just done a bunch of acid the night before, right? So I'm completely sober. It was the last night. I had to go all out. I'm completely sober in my car. It's, sun's beating down. It's tons of heat. I think I took one hit off of maybe a one-hitter of some weed, and I fell asleep, right? So I lean back in my car. I fall asleep. I have this dream. And I have the dream that the traffic pattern is moving, and I literally wake up out of this dream and put it in drive and slam on the gas and hit this U-Haul rental van.
Oh
right?
my god!
So, and it's like 2 feet in front of me because we have not moved in hours, and I was sleeping. So I do this. Here's the best part about this story. Is the guy gets out of the driver's seat of this fucking rental U-Haul van and falls in the grass because he is drunk, like hammered drunk, and he can't even carry on a conversation with me. So I knew I was getting out of that one.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was a fun one. But that gets Bonnaroo, started. That's the first year they get up and running. It's been soaring since then.
It's crazy to look at. Like, I was looking at the attendance numbers. Year one, 70,000 people, or
in
around
2 weeks,
that.
sold out in 2 weeks.
That is insane. Like, to just that amount of people descending on a small city that had the only other thing they had was a festival 3 years before, and not even what'd you say, 10,000 people.
I think
crazy.
it's 10,000 people is Manchester's population.
No, 10,000 people attended that.
First week.
Yeah, the
crappy. Maybe a correlation here. 10,000 people live in Manchester. So that first festival might have just been everybody from Manchester.
Just rolling up.
They just gave tickets to everybody in town, and that's who was there.
Yeah, because nobody wanted to go see Blue Oyster Cult in 1999.
Yeah, it's tough.
Okay. So Bonnaroo it starts to soar. Most of you know the story because this is our lifetime. Like,
sure,
if you have been to Bonnaroo or you're going to Bonnaroo, you had to have researched it in somewhat. There have been epic performances over the years down there, a lot of collaborations, and it started as a very hippie music festival, like, jam band scene. Like, there was this scene for about 3 or 4 years, and then, in 2005, 2006, they start breaking into a little bit of mainstream artist, which really progressed through like 08 through 12. And then now, everybody sees what it is. It's everything from, Casey Musgraves to Metallica. It's, anything under the sun. I wanted to mention some notable performances at Bonnaroo, and then we'll get back into CMA Fest a little bit.
Now, what time of year is Bonnaroo? The 12th?
Bonnaroo is usually the second weekend in June, and CMA Fest is the first weekend in June. But there were 5 years, which was like 2013, 2014, 2016, 17, and 18, I believe, where they were held in the same weekend.
All right.
Last year they were on the same weekend? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this is their first finally back to splitting weekends, which is a smart move for not only the Nashville International Airport, the city of Nashville, you know, you've got two opportunities to put people in hotels in Nashville to go down to Bonnaroo instead of like jamming up one weekend. The reason that they split weekends or went on the same weekend before, went back, was because Bonnarooians, is that what we're going to call them? Bonnarooians were say that weird. No,
I don't know.
Okay,
I
so
don't
they
know.
were complaining about the heat being in the second weekend in June. They wanted to move it up, so that's, you know, people in Tennessee have to make those decisions.
I got you.
So
Okay.
some of the more epic performances of Bonnaroo, notable shows, notable performances. Beastie Boys' last performance ever was on
No
stage
shit.
at Bonnaroo.
Huh.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go, but I bailed. So White Stripes played there on their last tour ever. I think only 5 shows before their last concert that they ever played. There's a big question mark on this next artist. There's a lot of controversy out there with the artist D'Angelo, and a lot of people, this kind of sounds somewhat like a tiny mini conspiracy, but a lot of people say D'Angelo played his last concert ever at Bonnaroo, and then there are others that say that they saw him later that year, but I couldn't find any evidence on it.
Yeah, that's not a conspiracy that I really care to dive into.
Thank God. Another one that people kind of remember about Bonnaroo is the infamous Kanye West late night set, where even actors and actresses were there, and I've got friends that were there. I was not there that night. I've been to, I think, 11 or 12 Bonnaroos, but I wasn't there that night. Kanye West was scheduled to go on stage at 1 a.m. following the headliner that started at 11, and he did not go on stage until 5 o'clock in the morning. The best part about that was, and this is a great story for people like us at like the band Jurassic 5, but Charlie Tuna was playing solo in a tent that night, right? So the people start, you know, after an hour, I'm not fucking waiting on Kanye West anymore. I don't care how popular you are. I'm going to go see what else is out there, and I'll come back, see if you've started playing yet. So Charlie Tuna's playing in this tent, and he said there were maybe like 500 people under this tent. They could fit thousands, right? And he said by 6 songs later, it is spilling out into the field outside of his tent because people were so fed up and they wanted to see something. And he goes on mic and thanks Kanye West for being an asshole.
That's funny.
Dude, that's cool.
I don't know. Yeah, Charlie Tuna late night set would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because that's some fun. I mean, he makes some fun music.
I wonder if his first song on stage was like "Good Morning." Ooh.
Oh,
like
what if that's why he didn't start until 5 in the
sunrise,
morning?
man.
Oh man,
He's so clever.
If it wasn't his first song, then he's not that clever.
Yeah, if you didn't wait 4 hours, then it wasn't worth it.
So I just want to jump in. And another one of the really epic late night sets that everybody's heard about, I feel like, is the My Morning Jacket set in maybe 2000. Bucky, help me out here.
2008.
2008. Okay,
Yeah.
Dang, that was even longer ago than I thought. I feel like they played a late night set that just really put them on the map. Because being from like Lexington and living in Louisville for a while, like we already knew who My Morning Jacket was. You know, they were giant in Louisville, and they were getting big anyway, like up until that point. But I feel like that put them on the map, and then everybody was on the My Morning Jacket bandwagon for 5 years or so there.
It was unbelievable. I was there. It's one of my favorite Bonnaroos, and I didn't like My Morning Jacket. I didn't even give them a chance because all of my friends in college, half of them are from Louisville. They were like, "You've got to listen to this band, My Morning Jacket." I just kept passing over it. So I'm at that Bonnaroo. It is fucking pouring down rain, and they play for 4 hours. So much so that like I left to go see other bands, came back, left to see another band, came back, still playing, right?
Yeah.
The encore, they go off on stage, and encore, this is one of the most epic things that has ever happened at Bonnaroo, right? So they start with the piano introduction to Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue. It is pitch black dark on the stage. Light comes up. Who's playing the piano?
Billy Shears.
Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And
He kind of looks like Jim James a little bit.
He does, right? He's got the beard, but he's on stage with a solo
Maybe
light.
Was it Zach Galifianakis? Maybe you were high.
It was, man. And so the light descends over this piano, and he's playing this piano. Then he gets up, right? And the band just goes into it. It turns from the most beautiful piano playing from Home Sweet Home Motley Crue to the worst vocal performance I've heard from combined Jim James and Zach Galifianakis.
Oh man,
Trying to sing
that
through
song
it.
is not in Jim James's range. I don't feel like. Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
You can find it out there if you guys are looking for it. Zach Galifianakis, My Morning Jacket, Encore, Home Sweet Home, 2008 Bonnaroo. I didn't even bring this up. He was dressed like Little Orphan Annie.
And you were thinking this was like you were thinking it was going to be an Itchykoo, but it turned out to be a Bonnaroo. But then when they started singing, it went back to an Itchykoo. Now, hold on, I got a quick question. Are you done with all your performances, epics, or is this a 10
I am
list?
done with the performance.
So let me ask one question real quick. Bon Jovi has never played at Bonnaroo.
Bon Jovi has never played at Bonnaroo.
That's disappointing. That's one of the reasons I've never gone.
Was there an Eminem?
There has been an Eminem performance at Bonnaroo. He headlined.
Or am I thinking? I'm thinking somebody.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
So Bonnaroo blows up, right, first couple of years, and we skipped ahead to 2008. But in 2004, Fanfare here in Nashville, because of the heat from Bonnaroo and what they were doing, rebranded to the CMA Music Festival, right? In 2007, CMA hit a record 191,000 people that showed up in 2007.
The downfall.
That's a lot of fanny packs. Let me ask you guys something. Have either of you ever been to Bonnaroo or CMA Fest?
I've never been to Bonnaroo. I've been to some stuff like downtown at CMA Fest, and I worked like a video shoot for Jim Beam.
But you
in
never
2011. No, I never went to the big concert at Nissan Stadium or LP Field or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been. I haven't been to Bonnaroo, but I've been inadvertently at a CMA Fest, and all that.
Can you explain inadvertently?
I've been downtown at the time, and it's like you get caught in traffic, and you're like, oh man, I forgot.
Because you're in your car on your
Shit.
way home from work, that doesn't mean you attended
right.
CMA Fest. So I've been to Bonnaroo 12 times. They've had it for what's 19 minus 2?
17 years.
17. They've had it 17 times, right? I've been, I think 11 or 12 times. A lot of times I just go, the first 8 I went all weekend, and then the last 4 I've been down on a Sunday or something. It's very easy. For those of you listening in Nashville, it is extremely easy to get into Bonnaroo on a Sunday. You just drive down there, or you just get on Craigslist or whatever app you use in Nashville, and people come back on Sunday morning. They'll sell you an armband for $30, right?
Sure.
You drive down there, you pay $10 to park in somebody's front yard. You have $5 on you to get in $5 per person to get in a golf cart at the edge of Bonnaroo's campgrounds. They take you right to the front door. You go see the concerts, get in that golf cart, back to your car, you're out.
Where do you get the drugs?
$30. The drugs are all over.
Oh, okay.
On the way. There's just people. You're riding in a golf cart. People are just holding out like mushrooms.
$10
for
to
you
park,
grab.
and then
Yeah.
they'll sell you something there too.
That's it.
Cool.
All right. So notable bands that have played both Bonnaroo and CMA Fest.
Oh, this is good. Okay.
This could
So
be.
we already know Bon Jovi is not on this list.
Bon Jovi, I don't think has played either.
Is Zach Galifianakis?
I want Bon Jovi to play something soon here, just because of you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Zach Galifianakis has probably only played one. Paul McCartney was the most obvious. He headlined Bonnaroo and he played 1975, aka.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
sorry,
gotcha.
it's
Yeah, no. I
Sorry,
forgot.
I should have
Yeah.
said Billy, or you would have understood then. Yeah. A band called Nickel Creek, I think that's bluegrass, slow bluegrass. They were pretty big back in the day. Allman Brothers have played both.
That's not surprising.
Not surprising, right? Zach Brown Band.
Not
Not
surprising.
surprising. Yeah.
Sturgill?
Shooter Jennings.
Oh, yeah.
Sturgill has never played CMA Fest.
Oh, that's right, because he has that beef with, like, mainstream country music.
Everyone.
Well, yeah. So, but he has played Bonnaroo, though, right?
He has played. He played last year for the first time ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he was on one of the main stages, I think. Merle Haggard, both Bonnaroo and CMA Fest.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So I bet CMA Fest got good Merle Haggard, and Bonnaroo got dead Merle
better,
Haggard. Yeah.
better.
Kenny Rogers, also.
Your grandfather?
No, the people say that my dad looks like Kenny Rogers.
You're starting to.
Yeah, shut
My
the
man.
fuck up.
You do kind of have a Kenny Rogers type beard.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! All right, so
After a few beers, you get them rosy cheeks. It's happening.
God. So one of my favorite performances ever from Bonnaroo was on a Sunday afternoon. Kenny Rogers played in a tent, and Lionel Richie came out with him and then played all night long, and people are getting down in the sand. It was great. So later on that night, I go see Fish headline 2 sets on the main stage Sunday night, lasting Bonnaroo. We're halfway through the first set, and they say we want to bring out a special guest. Fucking Kenny Rogers comes out with Fish, and they play The Gambler, one of the worst things I've ever seen on a stage at Bonnaroo. It was entertaining because I was...
Was he dressed like Orphan Annie?
To me, that
I took a sip of beer at the wrong moment. Let's round it out. Sheryl Crow was the final person to play Bonnaroo.
Kid Rock. I bet Kid Rock's done both.
He has not done both. Kid Rock's never played Bonnaroo. So the last thing I want to touch on history-wise is you guys know CMA Fest. You're here. You were just here for it. It was incredible. We didn't go to it, but I'm sure you had a great time. But Bonnaroo coming up, they're saying there's a resurgence in Bonnaroo right now because of what they're putting on and what they're doing. This was because in 2015, AC and Superfly Productions, the two guys that were in apartments 12 years earlier, sold Bonnaroo to Live Nation. Most of you out there know Live Nation. Boo, bad guy. Live Nation charges way too much for tickets. Puts on suspect things, and is a giant. They sold it to the giant, right? So,
Right.
The irony on that is they bought it in 2015 for $125 million, which doesn't seem like that much.
I mean, did those dudes totally sell it though, or do they still own a portion of it, or like how does that work?
Well, the crazy thing is they didn't even own the land.
Right.
Live Nation bought the land, so they were sold $125 million. They just sold a music
the name.
so the name and the
Contacts
location and all that stuff.
Operations, probably.
So the irony in that is they paid all that money. Live Nation, the big guy, the very next year was the lowest attendance ever at Bonnaroo, and it'll go down as like one of the things that reshaped.
Do you think that is because of the lineup, or do you think that is some sort of like pushback for selling out to such a major corporation and people are like, "Fuck this, I don't want to go now"?
I don't remember it being that much of a pushback. I remember, I think ticket sales the price of tickets increased. The way they operated their business changed a little bit. They weren't being as real, to where they were shipping you, a whole packet full of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When you buy your
Yeah,
ticket, that was the most exciting thing, is to get your packet, and it had everything in it, armbands and bandanas and, a CD, with all the bands that were playing.
And the ticket was like a big, it was a collectible thing. Wasn't
It
it
was.
really intricately designed and stuff?
I still have a couple of the first ones. Actually, I have the first one, and then I did not pay to get in for the next 5 years because we got smart and realized back then you could just piece together armbands, right? You took some double-sided duct tape. You walked up to everybody, you snipped off the edge of their armband that was hanging over, and you just created your own armband.
Damn.
Yeah, we did that. I did that probably for, like I said, 4 or 5 years.
Did you learn that at public school or private school?
I learned that at public school, or just that's street smarts. I mean, come on. I'm going to jump a fence on the side of an interstate and walk in this massive field because you only needed an armband to get it in one little area. You can party in the parking lot all weekend if you want to.
That's pretty public school.
Yeah. Then they got smart on people doing that. About 5 years afterward, put those little things, those sensors in, so you had to run through kind of like a security thing. But anyway, I got a question for you guys.
Shoot, can't wait.
Why have you never been to Bonnaroo?
I don't know.
It's been here for 17 years.
There's nobody I really want to see, man.
And that is what I thought you would say.
Are you going to tell me all my favorite bands have been there?
I'm not at all. I was going to say because Alice in Chains has never played Bonnaroo.
Well, they had some drug problems.
Soundgarden has never played Bonnaroo.
They too were broke up for a while.
Yeah.
Keep going.
For the last 17 years, I've seen a Soundgarden concert.
What about Wu-Tang? Has Wu-Tang played?
Wu-Tang has played one Bonnaroo.
How many of them though? I mean,
it was
three
probably
of
like
them?
7 of
I just
them.
saw Wu-Tang last night. They were awesome, which is really crazy. Like, Wu-Tang at the Ryman on the final day of CMA Fest.
It's the
How-
biggest
how
fuck you
awesome
to
is
country
that?
music.
Yeah.
Damn, that
First
is
time
tight.
a hip hop group has ever played at the Ryman also, and it's Wu-Tang.
That's awesome.
That is dope.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sergeant
so what? Here's another question I want to ask, because I know Alice in Chains has never played Bonnaroo,
No.
and I keep going back to that band.
Yeah.
Is that the only one you like?
Yep, that's it.
That's, yeah. So, what would attract either of you to go to Bonnaroo?
For me, honestly, it's the camping. Like, I just have no desire to camp for 4 days in a place where there's like no trees and it's hot as fuck. Like, I love going to like Voodoo Fest or Jazz Fest, where it's like you leave at the end of the day, you go back to somewhere in the city and hang
Like
out.
CMA
or-
Fest.
Like CMA Fest.
I love
But-
CMA Fest, I
No,
guess.
wait.
But I like a festival that you can go to and then leave at the end of the day, because I don't want to live in my own funk for 4 days, man. I'm just too like I'm not into camping. I'm not that outdoorsy. Like,
That's not even outdoorsy. It's just.
well, no,
it's just,
it's just like I don't want to live in my sweat for 4 days.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're not just like out camping. You're getting.
But
blitzed.
you could pay $10 to go take a shower.
I didn't know
off,
that,
man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, man, when I was younger, I have no idea why I didn't go. To be honest, I mean, it has everything I like. I like
We were
music.
all there.
I know. I don't know why. I mean, I feel like I lived at a music festival in college, like with a bunch of jam bands.
Because of us.
Yeah, it has everything I like. To be honest with you, I don't know. Was I drunk? I don't know.
Okay, so to answer my question, what would it take to have you go to Bonnaroo?
Maybe if I could get in free. I don't have back
you
when
could
you
get in free.
back when you went. You said it was $200 for that first ticket, and I'm thinking, dude, I remember I remember I couldn't afford rent sometimes.
it's like what, $350 now or something for a weekend pass?
It's about $350 if you get the early tickets.
I tell you what, I would go if we could do like the RV thing. If we could take a RV in there and have like some kind of place to crash, and air conditioning, and an actual personal, I don't know,
Bed?
I think, yeah,
or just space.
yeah, just personal space that's not a tent and there's like air conditioning. Honestly, like,
Sure.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I can do a festival all day into the night, as late as it got, until midnight, but I just don't want to go back to a tent.
You're right. Not just going to bed in a tent, but waking up and all hungover and just like, oh fuck, man.
Yeah,
in
and
a
it's
tent.
hot as
and it's
hell
hot,
in
and
a
you're like,
tent.
all right,
At like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
see, man, that's
terrible
it. Like,
night's sleep.
I can't do it, man. I'm too much of a diva.
Yeah. So whether you're departing Nashville or whether you're descending upon Nashville in Middle Tennessee, we hope you got a great idea of kind of our perspective between the two festivals. I just wanted to tell a little bit of history, talk about some stats, some performances, things that have happened at both, and try to figure out why these guys haven't been to either one of them, because they're a blast, man. CMA Fest is CMA
Less of a
Fest.
blast.
Yes. If you just left, thank you for spending all your money in Nashville.
I think I looked it up, man. CMA Fest takes in, well, maybe it was last year, they took in $57 million into the city. It was like,
Wow.
an economic impact.
yeah,
That's great.
and like $5 million in like taxes immediately generated, like, for the city or whatever. So
So keep coming, and thank
yeah,
you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all that you do. If you enjoyed this podcast, because we touched a little bit, had more majority on Bonnaroo, you should come back and you should try it out. We don't have fancy hotels, but they have fanny packs down there. And there is VIP camping and things like that you can do. You're paying a little bit extra money, but to be honest with you, the cost perspective is about the same, because the ticket to Bonnaroo and the ticket to CMA Fest are about the same at
Are they?
$350. Yeah. I'm actually going to Bonnaroo on Friday. There's a new way to do it, and old boy, this might be how you do it. Actually, both of you guys, if you want to spend the money, it's a little bit expensive, but you could take a shuttle from Nashville to Bonnaroo, departs at 3 p.m., and you get dropped off at the front gate of Bonnaroo, and it picks you up at 3 a.m. and brings you home. And I'm actually doing that this Friday. I'm excited to see Childish Gambino and Fish, and Grizz has this super jam that's going to bring 30 people down there. Girl Talk's also playing. and I
See,
don't know
that's
anybody else.
Yeah, Girl Talk is fun. I don't know. I saw Girl Talk
Yeah.
at Forecastle Festival several years ago, and it's a great thing to see at a festival. But it's just like that's
Have you
not going to
seen-
draw me there.
Have you seen Girl Talk at 2:30 in the morning?
No, you're right.
Yeah, maybe.
Have you?
Yeah, maybe.
The board game, like your sister's room.
I don't even know what that means.
So if you enjoyed CMA Fest, thank you. Keep coming back. Spend some money in our bars. Come down here. The collaborations just only get better every year, and more of you come and drive more of us to Madison.
And if anybody if you come to CMA Fest next year and you just happen to stay in Hendersonville, it's a little bit further away, but check out the bar Hendy's. It's craft cocktails.
I heard
So,
you have to have a
wine
membership
bar,
to get into Hendy's.
You have to have a membership to get into Hendy's.
You do, but they're accepting like all people really. I mean, they don't discriminate. It's just like one of those loopholes. I shouldn't say that. That's
Right. It's got
Every
some-
other Friday night, they have a top 50 country act there. They don't tell anybody.
I don't know if we should cut that out maybe. But yeah, definitely check out Hendy's. It's up and coming.
So if you're coming down here and going to Bonnaroo this week, we hope you kind of enjoyed a couple of our stories from that, a little bit of the history on it. If you should have already known it, if not, you were like Fire Festival dumb for just coming out here without knowing what Bonnaroo is.
Yeah.
Because please wear sunscreen and
Jesus, and drink lots of water.
a lot of
There's
water
no
and
shade
sunscreen.
anywhere.
We did stats on deaths, and Juicebox said earlier.
Oh yeah, there's been 13 deaths. There was somebody that died last year, but there hadn't been any deaths I think for the 3 years prior. But for the first 9 years there was 11 deaths. So they didn't have a great track record starting off, but they've gotten better since the evil corporation took over.
That's like a 1 point something deaths per year.
I was very close.
1.9.
Yeah,
so
1.9.
it's
Take your drugs in moderation at either festival.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, yes, I agree with that. But also, like, I think the person that died last year was like carbon monoxide poisoning because they fell asleep in their car with like the heat on or something like that. It was something weird like that. So it may have been a combination, but that led to it. Like, they weren't prepared to camp, so they just got in their car, turned it on, fell asleep, died.
Okay, so that is scary on a personal level because
Oh,
I think
God.
Bonnaroo 4, 5, and 6 for me were I was sleeping in my car with the air conditioning on all night.
Well, this is with the air conditioning on and something. This is the heat, so I don't
'Cause
know
they
if there's
didn't know.
something like I don't know if the heat is different. If there more
it is
fumes
different
get
when-
in your car or whatever.
No, the heat's very different depending on the drugs you're on.
No, but I don't think it was like the heat that killed him. It was like carbon monoxide or something like from having it like exhaust was going into his car and like killed him that way.
Gotcha.
Do you understand?
Well, we hope you've enjoyed another episode of Raising Nashville.
As we go out talking about a death.
Yeah, as we go out talking about people dying. Don't die. Drink water. Take drugs in moderation.
Know
And if
your-
you just left CMA Fest, I hope you learned a lesson or two. Be easy on that Jack Daniels.
We hope you guys enjoyed listening. If you don't have children,
Have one.
have one.
Catch up.
Yeah, we want you to know what we go through.
Yeah, the fear.
real hoot. Y'all take care. We'll see you next time.